Alright, real quick, Patreon shout out, Judy Steins and Rick. For Patreons that donate $5 or more, they get a bullet dedicated to the individual. Sorry it took me so long, guys. I don't have access to a range very often. But I will hopefully make it up to you guys because I got something real special. 4570 from my original 1882 dated Trapdoor Springfield. This right here is 300 grain bullet with 60 grains of black powder behind it. Then I got a water jug out there that I filled with Florida's disgusting swamp water. So hopefully this right here will be good enough to appease you guys. Let's go ahead and send a really powerful soft lead flat face cartridge or projectile at that water jug. This is going to make quite the splash, I'm sure. Oh boy, oh that was quite the splash. The big problem with shooting black powder guns is I'm not sure how well that popped up on camera, but boy that was awesome. Alright, so there's one. Now we will go ahead and fire another because this is 2 Patreons worth. I have a long range target out there at about, I say long range, it's like 80 yards or so. Let's shoot a fat slow moving black powder round at I think it's like an old white water jug, like one of those 55-gallon water jugs out there. Let me send a round out at that. Oh boy, that was awesome. I like these slow moving rounds because like you fire, it goes bang, and you can hear it clank or click or smack into whatever it is you're aiming at after you have fired. So I'll let you guys decide who wants what, whether or not you want your round to be the round that was the water jug or the round that was the long distance 4570 shot. But there you go, my bullets dedicated to the individual.
Hello there, people of the internet. I have a couple of things on the table right here, and these are kind of indicative of most of what you would come across whenever it comes to the standard loadout for your American citizen. If you're in other countries, then this video probably doesn't apply to you because, well, we'll get into that later. I got myself an M16 right here. Obviously, this right here is just an inspired build, not a clone or anything like that. This right here is chambered in 223-556. AR variants in 223-556 are probably going to be the most common rifle that you're going to come across in an SHTF situation without rule of law, etc., etc. Though you may come across, bump my camera, you may come across rifles chambered in 7.62x39 or 308 as well. Those are probably going to be your 3 main calibers that you're going to come across. You're also going to come across handguns of some variety. Most of them are going to be chambered in 9mm, but 40 and 45 are not off the table in terms of what you're going to be able to find. So, on top of all that, the types of 5.56, which is probably going to be the most common cartridge used here inside of the United States in a without rule of law sort of situation. The more common rounds are going to be 62 grain green tips or 55 grain, like 193 style ammunition. So we're not here to talk about really the loadout. I just wanted to cover what I had on the table because I'm sure somebody's going to ask about it. With these right here being the main things that most of your civilians are going to be using here inside of the US in an SHTF situation, we have to really take into account what an SHTF situation will most likely be here inside the United States. Personally, I am leaning towards it will likely be some sort of uprising, second revolution, civil war, people against government. We have seen time and time again all over the world a government getting tyrannical and then people rising up to be able to take care of that. And we are to the point in the United States where we just have so much restriction on us and the government trying to take more and more and more and more. Combine that with the very unstable political situation here inside the United States, and we might potentially see ourselves in some sort of civil war or civil uprising within the next, oh, I don't know, my estimation, we might see something pop off within the next 10 years or so. Fingers crossed, definitely hoping that does not happen. I would love to see things settled in the courtroom. Issue is, the government doesn't listen to courtroom settlings. We see that all over the place with Second Amendment settlings in courtrooms and then government officials just blatantly ignoring them. So whenever the balloon does go up and things finally pop off and you get your people who are just the average Joe who decide to themselves they have had enough whenever it comes to government tyranny and they decide to do something about it, that is whenever we are going to start to see some civil uprising. We've already seen that a couple of times here inside the United States, and it's not out of the question to see it again. With the creation of this civil uprising, which I'm sure a lot of people are going to be on board with whenever it comes to knocking the government's power and control over its people down a notch or two, we are going to see a lot of people step up to the plate to try and help that cause. However, there's also going to be a lot of people, like a significant amount of people, especially with the amount of people I've seen make comments about this on my YouTube channel, who will just go hide somewhere. They will go run off into the woods and stay in their bug out location. They won't actually want to do anything unless that tyranny or that civil unrest, that situation is right on top of their doorstep. For the most part, a lot of people have adopted the mindset of, if it doesn't affect me, then it doesn't affect me and I don't need to do anything about it. Well, in a civil unrest sort of situation, the number of people that just run away from it without wanting to deal with it is absolutely staggering. The amount of people who want to go hide in the woods and survive on MREs and deer meat is incredible, versus actually getting up and taking care of whatever civil unrest situation that has arisen, even if they do believe in that cause. They're not going to bother with it unless it actually comes to their doorstep. Whenever you deal with civil unrest situations such as a revolution or a rebellion, or, insert your choice of civil unrest situation here that is similar to what we might potentially see here inside the United States. Again, this is all conjecture. This is not me saying, hey, I want this to happen. This is just, there's a solid possibility this might happen, especially with all the things going on in the United States right now. We literally have National Guard pegged against U.S. military right now with border crises going on. So there is a definite solid possibility that something might pop off somewhere. But if people, even the people who believe in the cause, just run for the hills and don't actually step up to take part in that civil unrest to get rid of whatever problem it is that they know is a problem that they want to get rid of, then of course the problem will not be solved. There's simply not going to be enough people to be able to handle that situation. If people step up to take care of that civil unrest, then the likelihood of that civil unrest having a good outcome for the people who actually want to make a change and a difference with the tyrannical government that they have decided to step up against is going to be significantly greater than if everybody just hides inside of the woods. If you have yourself a bunch of people who all believe in this cause, but they're all individually in their own world and own space, it will be quite easy for a tyrannical government to be able to get rid of those people one by one. There's an old saying that united we stand, divided we fall. Well, if we are all divided, even though we all have the same mindset of we want this to stop with this particular tyrannical government, then we will see those divided factions fall one by one. Now, there is also quite a few people who will step up to the plate and decide to themselves, we don't want to be divided, we want to be unified, and step up to stop whatever tyranny or situation is coming up. And we see that with the border crisis that is currently going on inside the United States, and a lot of states stepping up and vouching their National Guard and militias to be able to back some of the border crises that are standing up here inside the United States. So there are people who will step up to the plate to be able to handle that sort of situation, but there's a tremendous amount of people who will just kind of run for the hills. And in situations like that, if all you do is run away, then your country will fall. You will not make the changes that you want to see. Even if you're living on your land and you are just in a position where you don't want to be bothered by anything, that civil unrest, once it is concluded in that tyrannical government, once again it takes power, you are going to feel the effects of that one way or another, because that tyrannical government is in fact tyrannical, and they're not going to care about whatever laws that are passed. We see that, like I said, multiple times, especially whenever it comes to Second Amendment laws here inside the United States. We have so many lawsuits going on simply because there's so much illegal laws that are being passed with so many different things. This is just my 2 cents on the subject and something that I think about. The amount of people who want to just run away and not do anything unless it absolutely affects them is mind-boggling, and with a mindset like that, the country will fall. The country will just have to submit to a government simply because we are not unified enough to be able to step up and stop them from doing whatever it is that they're doing. Anyway, thanks for watching, folks. I have actually quite a bit more to say on this particular topic, but I wanted to get this, I wouldn't really call this an introduction video, but I probably will start talking more about this sort of stuff, just because it is on my mind, and it's something that I see pretty gosh darn regularly. But this right here is just the tip of the iceberg whenever it comes to things I have to say about this particular subject. If you run away and you don't do anything to actually stop the threats to the country that are being presented, then guess what? Those threats are going to take over. We just will not have the manpower with the division that we have here in the country, especially as of right now. Thanks for watching. Appreciate your time. Like, subscribe, share. Description below has a link to all sorts of stuff. Go check it out. You guys go off. Have yourself a fantastic day. I'll see you guys on the next episode.
Been a little while since I've done this. Bonnie and Clyde be damned. The poor man's Garen. It's a shame that bolt-action shotguns aren't more mainstream.